What have I done for conservation lately? When I learned of this year's speech topic, I decided the best thing I could do to benefit this important mission would be to focus on the next generation. What could I do with our youth that would make them more mindful of the challenges we face in protecting our natural resources and how our choices impact our environment? Because I work with younger kids through 4-H, I decided to put together a fun quiz using the interactive app called Kahoot to pick their brains, so to speak. Using a variety of questions, I could find out how much they know, bring up conservation topics they'd probably never thought of before, and then share some facts with them. So let me share with you today how my idea of engaging these young kids was time well spent. For my first question, I chose a topic most kids are interested in: insects. So in our gardens, fields, and pastures, would it be better if there was more or less insects? Most kids chose less, when the answer is, of course, more. Most folks are surprised to learn that the vast majority of insects are not pests at all. In fact, for every insect pest, there's about 1,700 good insects that help people or agriculture in some way. Beneficial insects like bees pollinate many food crops. Dung beetles and other decomposers break down rotten dead things and recycle manure. Ladybugs eat the eggs and larvae of many garden pests. Insects are your best friend in the garden. Sadly, though, I learned that scientists are seeing a steady drop in the number of all insects. Our farms are going to be less productive without them. But we can learn to help turn this trend by using regenerative ag practices like crop diversity that creates a better environment for insect diversity. Now, who would have thought that insects would be such an important conservation topic? Another question I placed before the kids was, what is a buffer strip? Is it something used to whiten your teeth with? A strip placed along the driveway to keep rocks off the lawn? Or grass and other vegetation growing along creek banks? Yes, buffer strips are grass and other natural vegetation left undisturbed growing along creek banks and waterways. This area serves as a filter that keeps sediment and farm chemicals from running into the waterway. It also serves as protection for wildlife and a place for insects to thrive, a need we talked about earlier. Moving on with the quiz, next I asked the kids what the most important building block on a farm and ranch was. Is it water, trees, soil, or grasslands? I noticed it took the kids a lot longer to answer this question while they really thought about it. Most of them were surprised to learn that the most important building block is soil. You can give your soil a health checkup by using a spade to dig up some worms for fishing. The best soil will have lots of worms, and it will be loose and crumbly. The kids were excited to learn about that trick. So now let's talk about what we can do to help improve our soil. Which of the following is not a good practice for promoting soil health? Is it planting radishes and turnips in the fall, disking up the field before planting, or letting livestock graze on the field during the winter? I was proud of my club members when most of them knew that disking was not a good practice for promoting soil health. We are learning more and more that no-till practices, not disturbing the soil by disking or plowing it up, has many benefits. It keeps the soil from drying out. Corn stalks and other residue left on the field break down to organic matter to help feed the living organisms. Now let's go back up to those field radishes and turnips that I mentioned. These, along with oats, rye, and other seed mixes, are called cover crops because they do just that. They keep the soil covered after fall harvest and in the spring. The roots of the cover crops feed the earthworms and soil microbes. When cover crops are used and cattle are allowed to graze on them, even more nutrients are recycled back into the soil. Cover crops and cattle go hand in hand. As I put together this conservation quiz for the kids along with some informative explanations, I found that I learned some new things as well, which I suspect is the point of this speech contest. There is always more that we can learn about protecting our natural resources and the challenges we face right here in our own ag community. I now have more confidence in the youth of my generation to make resource conservation a priority. Thank you.